Good morning. For those who don't know me, I'm Hookem. I'm the Member of European Parliament for Yorkshire and North Lincolnshire. I'm very proud to be appointed to be the spokesman for UKIP on fisheries for many reasons. Firstly, my background. I was born, brought up within the fishing community in Hull. My grandfather worked his entire life on the fish dock. My father was a fish filleter. My uncle Harry went to sea. My brother Keith paid the ultimate price to feed this country when, as a member of the crew of the fishing vessel Ross Cleveland, it sank off Iceland. In fact, I can trace my family's links with the fishing industry back to the 1800s. Growing up, everyone I knew in Hull's Hesel Road community worked in some capacity within that fishing industry. And at its height, thousands of jobs depended on this industry, whether that be at sea, on shore, or in the retail area that surrounded the docks. These proud people worked hard all their lives to put food on the nation's table. Hull's Hesel Road mirrored many other similar communities around the coastline of Great Britain. However, in 1973, every person, both living and working within the fishing communities of Britain, was betrayed by a Conservative government led by Edward Heath when he took us into the then European Economic Community. And the price for membership of the European Club was a wholesale sellout of our waters, our fish and our fishing communities. The traditional parties will tell you this is untrue and that the loss of our fishing industry was simply due to the Icelandic cod wars. Well, I lived through those cod wars and I can tell you they were nothing more than the Icelandic government realising the importance of the fishing grounds, the fish stocks and their fishing fleets. If we'd had a government then and since that had the balls to stand up for British fishermen in the same way, the UK would still have a strong fishing fleet today. Instead, communities like the one I grew up in Hull are no more. And the same pattern is repeated up and down the coastline of Great Britain, as the decline of the fishing industry continues to cut deeply into the fortunes of these once proud towns and villages. Today, we see another Conservative government, this time led by Theresa May, once again poised to betray what remains of the UK's fishing industry. And where are the opposition parties fighting for British fishing? The Labour Party, once the bastion of the working man and woman, are unwilling to confirm what their Brexit policy will be. In Scotland, where 93% of the fishermen voted to leave the European Union, we see SNP candidates willing to sign a pledge in support of fishermen, while their leader Nicola Sturgeon speaks of an independent Scotland signing up to the European Union and the common fishery policy it holds so dearly. Only the UK Independence Party is fully committed to supporting our fishing communities and reclaiming our 200-mile exclusive economic zone that is our right under international law. The fact is, according to recent figures by Fishing for Life, the fishing industry's net to plate value is worth a massive £6.3 billion to the UK economy, should we fully exploit it. So today, I'm very proud to roll out UKIP's Future for Fishing policy to secure the industry's future and ensure the survival of what remains. We must first repeal the common fisheries policy in its entirety and immediately restore our sovereignty and control of the entire UK exclusive economic zone, as is our right under economic law. From speaking to members of the fishing community up and down the country, one of their biggest fears is that the EU's common fisheries policy will be carried over as a standalone UK legislation on the Theresa May's Great Repeal Bill. This simply cannot happen. And I demand that the government make fisheries a red line in the coming negotiations. However, despite some Conservatives talking tough on fisheries, no action has been taken to convince me that they have any intention of supporting the industry or reclaiming our waters. Take the UK's withdrawal from the 1964 London Fisheries Convention as an example. If Mrs May had on triggering Brexit, invoked our right to leave this agreement and secure the UK's 6 to 12 mile limit from the EU trawlers, I may have been more confident. But given that a 2-year notice period is required to withdraw from the London Convention, it very much looks like this is not going to happen before Brexit. So, yet more uncertainty heaps upon the UK's fishing industry, with the potential to leave the EU's fishing vessels continuing to plunder our fish stocks, even if we do reclaim our waters. That is why UKIP today demands that one of the first acts of any new government is to secure the future of our fisheries, commit to leaving the CFP and withdraw from the 1964 London Convention. The fact is, we have a massive British industry waiting to be unleashed from the shackles of the EU. We just need the guts to do it. However, we also need a full range of policies to replace the outgoing CFP. That is why I would launch an inclusive and collaborative consultation period with all sectors of the fishing community to culminate in the creation of a new fisheries bill. This new bill would also include measures to help rebuild the industry's grassroots and attract new blood. For places like Grimsby, once the biggest fishing port in the world, such a scheme would be invaluable and could be used to help kickstart a civil ship and boat building programme for the growing fishing industry, in line with WTO technical assistance programmes. This is not to mention the provision of employment in a range of skilled areas and the rebuilding of much knowledge we have lost over the last 50 years. However, any plans to rebuild the fishing industry will require investment, as the UK's fishing industry cannot be restored overnight to its former size and strength. UKIP would introduce a time-limited paid licence fee option for selected foreign flag vessels to fish within the UK's territorial waters during the rebuilding period. Proceeds from these licences would then be directly reinvested into the fishing industry and processing sectors. However, any licensing for foreign vessels must be coupled with a strengthening of the Merchant Shipping Act to ensure all fish caught within the UK's EEZ are landed, processed and sold in the UK, which would also help to inject more much needed capital into the fishing industry. The simple fact is, the British fishing industry deserves better than the treatment it's had over the last 45 years, and UKIP is determined that it will not be lost to future generations. Thank you very much.